Welcome back to the podcast, Matt.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited for this one because I love the Apple Watch, and I know you are as big of a fan of it, if not more so than I am. And for this kind of special end of the year episode for Epic Pros, not talking about iPads today. We're doing a fun little retrospective on our journeys with the Apple Watch so far.
I am thrilled to talk about it. Like you said, I'm a huge fan of smartwatches. I was a Pebble owner back in the day. Huge fan of them.
Yeah, my boss at the time gave me a Pebble Kickstarter watch as like a gift. I think he got it and didn't want it after he got it or something like that.
Okay. A fool.
A fool. I love that. That thing was kind of delightful. E-ink screen, playing pause your music.
Not much more.
Not much more. You could have some fun watch faces. I forget what I put on that thing. But yeah, that had a funky charger that was kind of hard to keep in sometimes.
Oh yeah, custom charger.
Yeah.
Looked crazy, like not the industrial design we're used to these days.
No, I should have grabbed my iPod Nano. I still have the Tic metal bracelet for my iPod Nano. You convert that into the Apple Watch. Yeah,
that's right.
And I think I've heard Apple talk about that as like an early inspiration of like, hey, maybe we can do this for real.
Maybe.
So, I don't know where we want to start with this. I mean, it was exciting just leading up to the introduction of this thing with like Apple Pay being a big and the iPhone 6 introduction. Like we got this watch coming and, solid gold watch. Like it was a crazy time. The original unveiling, then the more detailed one in the fall or the spring. I mean,
yeah, it was very much like the Vision Pro rollout that we're going through now, kind of similar to the iPad rollout, where you have like the announcement with some vague details and then the full unveiling, which I guess we technically haven't had for the Vision Pro. But yeah, it was a really exciting time, and it seems crazy to think back that far, but like there was also the narrative in like the tech press of like, if Apple doesn't release a smartwatch now, they're toast. Like there's also like that with voice assistants. Like we go through this every like 5 years or so, but there was a lot of pressure on Apple to make a smartwatch. It wasn't clear if they were going to do it, and yeah, so it was really exciting when they finally announced it in late 2014. I think it was, right?
Yeah, late 2014. Then it released in April 2015.
Mm-hmm.
What was the one thing you were most keen on about this thing when you first saw it in that unveiling? For me, it was the thing I still use today is the Apple Pay with the watch. That just seems so futuristic and great.
For me, it was, I mean, it was, my answer is kind of boring, but it's actually still my favorite thing about the Apple Watch, and it's just notifications. It was, especially at the time with the job that I had, like I didn't have easy access to my phone at all times. And so I missed timely notifications regularly, and having instant access to like the things that were going on in my life on my wrist. The Pebble proved it to me as like a thing that I wanted, even in that kind of terrible form factor and interface. But it proved the form factor, or proved the use case. And yeah, notifications on my wrist are, from the very beginning, were the thing I was most excited about. There were tons more they talked about, but like that was like the one thing where I was like, yes, this will be good, and it's integrated into the system, so it'll work even better than I'm used to.
Yeah. Looking back at old pictures, it strikes me how good the first one was. Like they nailed a lot of things. Like that fluoroelastomer sports band is still one of the best watch bands ever created by any company. I think it's super comfy. And my original model I got in 2015 still looks almost brand new, and it's just great. Yeah.
It's kind of amazing. They did it with the iPhone. They kind of nailed the form factor from the start, and iPhones still basically look like the original iPhone. And they did it with the watch too. You know, it's gotten better. It's gotten higher tech. The bezels have shrunk considerabily since then.
Yeah,
but like
the screenshots of the watch faces are just hysterical, especially the ones that show a photo like this time lapse one.
Yeah,
you really see those. And then they didn't want you to have color on the watch face, and now it's all about emphasizing this is all screen now.
Yep.
Before that was not the case.
Yeah, but like you didn't even notice it really. Like I guess it's kind of like how like you never think the bezels of today are huge until you look back on them and you're like, oh wow, like our laptop bezels were huge a couple years ago.
Yes.
But you don't really feel it at the time. Like at the time, and I guess it's maybe a testament to the software. I didn't really think the bezels were huge back then. It seemed fine. And again, it's because those tricks they played to like push the user interface all the way to the edges of the screen. And then that still has a nice amount of padding because the screen doesn't go nearly to the
end. Yeah. Looking over the original watch faces, I think Solar remains just like the best one that's like elegantly gone from screen technology to different screen size.
Yeah, I think then that's one of the ones that's like uniquely digital, right? Like
yes,
it's not emulating a physical thing. Yeah, that one looks great.
Yeah, my favorite, I guess, watch faces that are like analog-ish are the ones that build off the simple watch face. So you have simple, which I love to have with no complications, just the dial, nothing on it. And then the numeral one, which just has the hour. And then the numerals mono is another one. I like having those when I don't need any complications. Just my classy formal watch face that I can put with Milanese loop, and it just looks great. And it looked great in the ritual watches too, because they were black, basically all black except for the little part that's shown. And the simple watch face was there from day one. Then they kind of built on with those other two I mentioned. But yeah.
So is that the one you used from the start? Simple was kind of the one you landed on way at the
for
beginning, or
formal stuff, I would say. And the modular, I think, was my go-to work face. I think was for everybody.
Yeah, modular kind of stole the show. I liked the chronograph one, but it always annoyed me that there wasn't a second hand and there was just like the stopwatch timer always at 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
And like I understand that's how it works and everything, but like it always bothered me, so I can never quite get myself to use that.
Yes. And in a rare occurrence, the Milanese bracelet is cheaper than it was on day one. That's used to be 150, I think, and now it's down to 100.
Yeah, the leather loop as well. They both dropped in price.
Yeah,
a couple of years ago. I forget when, but yeah, that was great. I didn't buy any of them. 150, I guess, is too much for me, but at $100, I've got a couple of each of those.
Yeah, and then the Link bracelet is still wildly expensive. I don't know if it's any cheaper.
I do not believe it is.
Yeah, I picked one up on eBay as like an open box thing for a decent price, and I'm very happy with that Link bracelet. It's very comfy. The one thing I don't like about the Milanese bracelet is I'm constantly tightening it throughout today because I like a nice tight fit to my watch bands, and the ones that are magnet bases tend to loosen over time. Except, as we'll talk about a little bit later, the Apple Watch Ultra Velcro is a very good one.
Okay. Yeah.
I guess the Velcros are better than the magnets in my book as far as staying fit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all of these watch bands, if you bought them in 2005, they still work today.
2015.
2015. Sorry.
Yes.
Yes. 2015.
The early prototypes. Yes. But yeah,
yes.
It's amazing. Some whatever. 8. We're 8 years on. Is that right?
Yeah. Going into our 9th full year. I mean, we all kind of hoped they would support them for a few years, but if you told us back then that it would be nearly a decade later and they'd still work just as well, I think we wouldn't believe you.
No, I definitely would not, especially on that Ultra thing that we now have, and we'll talk about later. It's like, my original watch bands actually fit in that. It's like, yeah, they do.
Yeah, I think they don't technically recommend it anymore. They're slightly imperfect, but they work.
I tend not to use them, except for the Link bracelet actually looks pretty good with that thing, the black one. I was looking over just the apps that were there on day one, and these apps were, I should say, just not great from the beginning. They're much better now. The watch was kind of slow back then, but I should back it up. The native apps by Apple were great. The third-party apps were not great. Yeah,
they were not, because they were given terrible things to work with. But yes,
that is kind of the travesty of the App Store on Apple Watch. Is they I think, ruined it by having these like fake apps. And then by the time they got it all squared away, a couple years later, all the big devs are like, "No, we're done. We're not going to give this a shot at this point."
Yeah, it is. It is kind of a shame because I use almost zero third-party apps on my watch. I used to, but like I just don't do things on my watch. I check the weather, I use notifications, I use complications, but like I'm not tapping into apps. So I kind of get it, but you do kind of wonder if they had nailed it from the start, would apps have been a bigger deal today
Yeah.
on the watch?
When I lived in DC, I remember, just as a proof of concept, I took an Uber and summoned it from my Apple Watch with my phone, just left behind at home. It was pretty cool. Can't do that anymore. I think that
dangerous.
I know, right? And then
Yeah.
we had the friend Bubbles back in the original thing.
Digital touch.
Digital
or
touch.
No, or I guess that was related.
There. Yeah, we can still send heartbeats to each other.
You're right.
But
yeah, was that what the side button did? How did you?
Yeah, the side button.
Like a yeah.
I think it was the side button. It brought up the little friends and stuff.
Like MySpace style top 8.
Right, which I didn't think was awful, but I think we have better use for it now.
Yeah, I do. It wouldn't be the worst thing actually, because since then I feel like iOS, like you bring up the share sheet in iOS and it has like a list of people you're likely to be messaging right now, and it integrates with third-party apps.
And the Messages app on the watch now has the pinned people if you do that.
Mm-hmm. But I guess like I DM people on Slack, for example, and the iOS share sheet will show Slack people as people I can like share something with very quickly. Yeah. So it would be kind of interesting if I could bring that back and like, here's the people, and then I can talk to them through different apps, maybe not just iMessage. Anyway, it's probably a bad idea, but
yeah,
I have some nostalgia for that.
And back then we had Passbook. That's how old the Apple Watch is.
Before wallet, right?
Yes. So one of the things I remember doing with the original watch was the workout and running. And I remember training it by having my phone with me that first time. And I did do some solo runs with we had AirPods were introduced alongside this. Is that
no, that was a few years later.
So yeah. So for several years we had to use some random Bluetooth earbuds with our watches.
Yeah, that's a good question, because I didn't have AirPods. I had some cheapo Amazon, like with a wire in the middle between connecting the buds and everything. Like I had one of those. I must have used that with the watch when I was working out, but I have no memory of what that looked like.
I definitely had something that I paired with the watch and ran with a little bit. I wasn't huge in the running at this point, but did a bit of it. And that seemed cool, but it seemed like, this is the obvious first step to take with the GPS later on. So before we go through generation, were you there on day one with Apple Watch? Like, when did you get your first Apple Watch?
Yeah. Okay. I was there on day one. I got the cheapest one, the Sport model that they called it back then. The Sport model, I think it only came in silver in that first edition, maybe not, but I got the silver model with a white sport loop.
Do you still have that white sport loop?
I don't.
Okay.
No. What did you get? You must have been there day one.
I actually amazingly was not. I really I like the gold watches, as you know. I didn't have that much money for the gold watch.
How gold? Real gold?
I would have loved that thing. But they got me. This is the only time I can think that I've ever done like a mid-generation purchase. Like the iPhones, they do the mid-color cycles. I waited till the fall when they introduced the gold with the blue sport loop with the gold pin. And I still have that blue sport loop, the gold pin. That thing is amazing because, like, I love gold watches. I have a gold Series 9 here. And it's got, and it looks great with the gold pin. It still matches to this day, all of my gold stainless steels. It's nice. So I'm very happy I got that one. But for whatever reason, it's like, I'm going to be patient, wait a bit. Don't have a bunch of extra money to splurge right now.
I
But then
didn't
they
either.
introduced the gold aluminum. I couldn't restrain myself.
Yep. Yeah, it's amazing. And I think it was $400 still then,
Yeah,
or was it 500?
it was 400.
It was 400. So
I should pull up
not
the Mac tracker.
as terribly expensive as I think we might have feared it would be. Although you could spend.
You could spec it up. The Darth Vader model, as so many people called it, was expensive. I think it was like $1,300 with this link bracelet for that one.
Oh man, yeah.
Oh, okay. So $349 to $399 was the Apple Watch Sports. Okay. $549 to $1,099 was the regular stainless steel, and $17,000 for the edition.
I had it in my head it was 13,000, and that for what now it's just that much worse.
I think there's a couple different tiers of the pricing on that edition, where there's some a little bit less and some a little bit more, depending on how much gold was in like the watch band or something. That thing was beautiful. I love the little gold video and stuff they released online but didn't show during the keynote.
Yeah, and they had like celebrities wearing them before it was released, and
yes.
Yeah, that was a strange time.
Yeah. There's talk. Can you update that gold one? It's like, nope.
Oh yeah, yeah. I definitely remember that. Like, they wouldn't sell you a $17,000 watch and then like replace it the next year. Right. Yeah, they would.
Yeah, they would.
Keep your band though.
That'll be the one and only you'll get of that type. Yeah.
Yeah, truly.
Oh man, but yeah, it was such a, and I remember thinking back just how lightweight and thin that original one was, because that was, I think, one of the lightest and thinnest watches they ever made, and we both had aluminum that generation, so it was like, even more emphasized there.
Yep. Yeah, and like as a current ultra wearer, like my wife has the small Series 8 in aluminum.
Yeah.
So like we're complete opposite ends of the spectrum. Hers feels like nothing. It's like weightless. So I can't imagine what the Series 1 was. That is even smaller.
Right. Well, that was the Series 0. So let's
Zero, yes.
Move ahead. September 2016. So it had a year and a half on the market as that original one, I guess, because they wait till September. So that's when they introduced Series 1 and 2. They introduced the white ceramic, which is such a hot material, very expensive, but looks so good. And it had the black, I think, dots in it. We did mention there were some dots in the stainless steels, I think, and whatnot. We got the Breathe app. We got the woven nylon band, which I think is this one, the Velcro-y. I think that's what this one is. The Velcro-y.
Was that just the second year? I guess so.
Yeah.
I remember being really skeptical.
Nike edition with the Nike Sport Band and the Nike Run Club and exclusive faces there, to go along with the fact that there's now a GPS edition of this watch for the Series 2.
Yes. So I had the Series 1 this year. Yeah,
because the Series 1 was identical to the Series 2, just without GPS, right? The screen brightness was less, right?
I think maybe the screen wasn't quite as good. It was basically the Series 0 with the better processor.
Yes, and it was a major jump for
screen. Yeah. And it was kind of like a iPhone and iPhone Pro thing, and I didn't have the money to go for a Series 2, so I wanted the Series 1, and still felt like I was getting something new.
Yeah. And this generation is one of the few early on that I didn't actually get, because like I was still happy with my original one at that point, and I wasn't running that much to make it worth getting at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And this came out $269 and $299 for the Series 1, so you save about $100 there from the Series 2. So yeah, decent savings there.
So I always defend the Series 1. I feel like on podcasts looking back at Apple Watches, they always like say the Series 1 and 2 came out and nobody bought the Series 1. I bought the Series 1. And it was
because if you're not running, do you really need the Series 2? The screen was better.
Running is my workout of choice, so I was running, but I always had my phone with me.
Okay.
And my phone had GPS, so it was fine. But yeah, phone GPSs weren't as good back then. Like, yeah, simpler times. It wasn't even 10 years ago, but yeah, we're kind of spoiled today by how good
We really are.
these little things are.
Well, I remember like a lot of running watches. I'm not sure if it's better these days, but you have to wait like 2 minutes before you can start your run. Getting the GPS all lined up for some of those older watches. I think the dual band stuff is better.
I believe it. I definitely had runs like back in the day, early smartphone days, where I would like start the run, I'd go, and then it would say I ran like twice as long because the GPS was cached from like when I was at the store, and so it thinks in 1 second I went like across town.
Yeah,
it was terrible, but yeah, fixed today.
Yeah, and yeah, I should say the white ceramic I really want, but I will never get because they need it in a modern watch, and then I'd be tempted, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's expensive, but like,
it looks so good.
It looks so good. It looks really good.
It's funny. At the times it came out, I wasn't into the higher end version of the watches. Now I am. It's like,
yep.
Yeah. Because we at the beginning, you know, it took a while before I think we moved to stainless steel and upwards from there.
Yeah. For me, it wasn't until the Series 7, but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yes, we are. So Series 3 was my second watch I got, and I was very conflicted on this one because they had gold, but they ruined the gold by making it more pinky.
Oh, this is the rose gold era.
It was the worst aluminum gold they had. I was very upset by this, and I still got it because, you know, I'm a sucker.
Okay.
But yeah, as we'll talk about with the Series 4, I was elated what they did with that thing. But this thing, the Series 3, in its time in 2017,
S tier. Incredible watch.
Amazing watch. This thing was blazing fast. Cellular was phenomenal. I remember going just on walks with just my watch in DC, and just I felt like it was in the future, going on runs with just my watch, and it was just a magical time having cellular on your watch in 2017. This is a technology I didn't think would be in the watch for a good, I don't know, 4 or 5 generations. Like,
yeah, I don't remember the rumor mill exactly at the time, but I feel like we were kind of surprised that, it's here. Like, they do have a cellular model
already. Yeah, like it's super quick. Like, that's one thing about the Apple Watch is it felt like every generation, especially in these first many years, they were all like, yes, let me get that because that is substantially better than this previous one.
Yeah, the Series 3 especially. I think the Series 3 was the first time I bought this first one and I was like, this is awesome. I love it. If a random person asked, should I buy it as well? It was hard to say for sure. Because it was super slow. And again, like you said, the apps weren't really there and the OS wasn't really, they hadn't figured it out yet. They'd kind of just thrown all the spaghetti at the wall and were seeing it worked. The Series 1 and 2 was better, but like the Series 3, it was so fast. They'd figured out watch OS a lot better at that point. I just thought this was a great watch. And like, they sold it for 5 years. So
it was a bit thicker than the originals, but it was great piece of kit. Like, the hardware was phenomenal. It was super fast for its time in 2017.
Yep.
And as you said, it sold until September 2022.
Just crazy.
Just nuts.
They sold it too long, but yeah.
The ironic thing is the one selling feature of this watch of LTE was not available for the vast majority of its run because they didn't sell. I don't think they sold the Series 3 after its first or second year with cellular as an option.
I think you're right. Yeah, it was just the budget one.
Which you could only get with the LTE version. It's just like not on the Series 3 for most people.
But yeah, awesome watch. The last one of that design, the original design.
Yeah.
Super good. I don't remember what colors there were, but yeah, they kind of knocked it out of the park with this one. This was everything. Like, this was the point where like mainstream people could really get on board. It probably was actually as well. Like, I don't know when we started seeing like Apple Watches everywhere, but like this is probably around that time that people started feeling better about buying them, and they weren't just like a novelty anymore.
For sure. And I'm trying to look up prices. I got Max Tracker. It says $329 for the original price and $399, which makes sense. And that dropped over the years, I think, a little bit. And yeah, it originally shipped with WatchOS 4 and then made it to WatchOS 8. Yeah,
which is not bad.
Not bad at all.
That's only 2 versions out of date right now. That's great.
Right, yeah. It's funny. Anyways, I was looking over. Specs are funny on the watch. Just I don't know. So, Series 3, huge, just update with cellular and the speed improvements, and just this is finally like the watch to get. And then Series 4 rolls out in September of 2018, and oh boy, was that a beautiful piece of work what they did with that thing. So this is when they introduced the stainless series, the stainless gold version of the watch. Prior, they just had the black and the silver.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the gold that I was craving since that original real gold one. And I instant bought that one with the Milanese loop, and it was just such a beautiful watch. And that's what I've stuck to ever since for my series watches is the stainless gold watch. And it's a beautiful object they create.
Nice. And gold every time too. You don't change up the color?
Never. A lot of the reasons is because the bands, like I got the gold Milanese loop.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been tempted to try what's that black stainless like, but I always go back to the gold.
Nice.
Yeah,
but yeah,
this redesigned face. It's like a flatter, bigger watch, more to the edge of the screen and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was more the outside of it, like the aluminum body or steel body, was more curved than before. It was, again, more screen. And again, at the time, it felt like as much screen as you could possibly have.
Yes, it's like, this is it. They're not going to get any more. We'll talk about you later with the Series 7.
Yep.
But,
and they had watch faces again, showing it off. Like the fire that goes all the way to the edges, and really it was great. It was the sort of update that made you look at the old one and immediately go, oh, that's kind of old. It looks old. I can't go back to that.
We had ECG, so you do that on your watch, which felt very futuristic.
Yeah,
I do it every now and then just for fun. But
yeah, I had a friend. I have a friend who actually does have an irregular heart rhythm, and I didn't know that. He had just like he's fine, but like it's a thing, and so he like said, "Hey, let me try that out with you," and it like showed him like really not ideal results, and I was like, "Oh my god!" He played dumb for like 30 minutes before he's like, "I'm fine, don't worry."
Yeah, a little trick to that little sensor is if you just open the heart app, you can put your finger there and get a more accurate heartbeat reading as well.
Yeah. That was I can't believe that was the Series 4 already that was added.
Yeah.
That was the last health sensor that really kind of was like just blew me away, at least.
No, that was like just a wow moment for me.
Yeah. Like the heart, like the temperature sensor and stuff. Like I understand how that works. Like I can get that better, but like we're doing
sending electrical signals to your body. And
what?
Yeah, and that sensor is the reason we don't have a solid red dot on our watches to this day.
Yeah,
it's just bare metal.
Just the ring now.
People hated that red dot on the Series 3. I didn't mind it.
They did. I mean, it was like a class status sort of indicator.
Oh, you got the cellular.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Did you end up with cellular on your Series 3?
No, I didn't get the cellular for years. I think the Series 6 was the first cellular model I ever got.
Because it was an upgrade. So I got the aluminum, but I paid more for the cellular, I think. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I think from the Series 3 on, I think you've been able to get the regular one without cellular, the regular one with cellular for an upgrade, and then the stainless steel ones all come with cellular.
So I was probably a bit of a dummy and should have just gone stainless steel because it probably wasn't that much of a difference. I wonder like how many aluminum cellulars they sold. Like I have to imagine most people even today, would most people just go to stainless? I wonder, because it's so much less of a delta.
I don't know. I think so. I'm thinking back. My first cellular was actually the Series 5. So I lied.
Okay.
I got the aluminum cellular for the Series 5. So again, I am at least the one person who bought this other model.
Yeah. So I'm just pricing it out now for a stainless steel or an aluminum with cellular and what the upcharge is.
I think
It's
it was $100.
$100. Yeah,
Yeah.
$100 more.
Mm-hmm.
So $529 versus I think $599. So I think it's like only $70 for stainless steel. Maybe I'm doing the math wrong. But
yeah. Anyway, what model we got? We're on the Series 4. Yeah,
the Series 4. Yeah. But I think it had some new watch faces that modular, which you could really fill up.
Mm-hmm.
The infographic, sorry, and the infographic modular.
Yes, yeah, those immediately took over for me as my go-to watch faces because they had more complications.
They did,
and they had the bigger complications. This is also the update that got us like
and you had the corner ones as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, the infographic one, the analog one, I've always tried and just I can never get it right. But the infographic modular, very nice. And then we also got Fire and Water, Vapor, Liquid Metal, and the Breathe app. And then the Photos app Photos watch face could finally take advantage of that nice screen there. But yeah, that was a big year, 2018 for that.
Yeah, that was a good year. This is actually kind of going through them one by one. I feel like the Series 3, 4, 5, 6 are all big hitters, big updates each year.
Yeah, 7 for me as well. That thing I love, as we'll talk about.
Oh yeah. But yeah, that brings us to the Series 5.
Yeah, so I have to comment. Apple Watch is one of the products I think I've sold in person more than any other Apple products for whatever reason. And I've had some interesting just encounters selling to different people in like whatever market I found them in, and because I lived in DC area, so it was easier to find people. Mm-hmm. And I didn't get stabbed or anything during any of those sales. I remember trying to sell my Series 4 without the Milne's band and like just another band, and the seller and my buyer did not understand that and forced me to sell him the band. So I was hoping to save that money with the Series 5 to get that band again. Yeah,
of course.
Yes. But yeah, Series 5. This was another, I guess, surprise launch of always on display that no one knew was happening, and then Apple's like, "We did it!" Way ahead of what everyone thought would happen.
Yep, absolutely. I love it. This is one of those things I was championing for years. Like every once in a while, there's a pet peeve of mine. Every once in a while, I feel like the Apple community, enthusiast community, gets in their head that like Apple's intentionally not doing something because it's actually a bad idea. And always on screens were one of those things. It's like they won't do it for the watch because you don't need it. They won't do it for phones because it's not useful. And here we are in 2023 and they both have it and they're awesome. Right. And like those arguments have just like whatever. We never had those.
Yeah.
But like it was so awesome. It crushed battery life on that first one. It was the worst battery life in an Apple Watch in years for me.
Yes.
But it was so nice to have an always on screen on the Apple Watch. It really changed how useful it was to me.
Yeah, you could just glance down at any moment, like I can now, and just see the time. Mm-hmm. And just made the watch was like had this like just black, screen. There's nothing on it, and it's just like it's the watch faces are beautiful. I mean, it's just like it's nice to just show it off as like a part of your personality or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. You're right. I kind of forget that like it used to just be a dark, just a black rectangle on your wrist, but now like it could be your watch face and it could be a photo of someone, or it could be just a cool looking watch face, whatever you liked and whatever was your style. So that's a huge thing with watches. So that was a super important thing for them to add.
And they still don't have this feature on the SE, which kills me because I know they sell a lot of those, and this is such like a foundational thing for a watch. Like this is like, it pains me. It's on Series 5, but yet they can't in 2023.
Yeah,
fit it in there somehow. Like it's too.
I'm sure they could.
They could,
but
those margins, you
gotta make money. I get it.
Well, they're still trying to. We'll have to talk about that SE when it actually comes out.
Okay.
Next year, I think. But yeah, Series 5, love this thing. Got it at launch, and I felt at the time I was being made fun of a little bit by some podcasts saying it's just a Series 4 with this one feature. Yeah, the one feature that actually matters on the watch.
yeah, it is one of those things. Like, yes, it's basically just that. It was probably the same system on a chip, effectively.
Yes,
it didn't really add any other features. I'm trying to think back because I used to write a review of the Apple Watch.
Yeah, you
every
did
year.
the WatchOS reviews.
I did. I used to do probably some of the biggest ones out there before they were kind of boring to write because updates weren't as big anymore. But anyway, I'm pretty sure I was like, there's one real feature in this that you should buy it for. And if you want this feature, you should buy it. It's worth it.
It's transformational to how you experience the watch. Like it's just that.
Yeah, it was a great. Again, crushed the battery life for me. Was not good for me, but
yeah. And this is in the days before fast charging.
Yes. Yeah. it took a bit to get it back up.
Yeah. So but transformational updates. For me, the Series 3, the 5, and the 7 are all just like bangers.
So those are 3 and the 5 for sure. And I might go Ultra for my third pick, but
again, Ultra. I will talk about Ultra. I freaking love this thing. So next year, September 2020, we get the Series 6. And coincidentally, Apple developed the blood oxygen sensor alongside when COVID was happening. Pure coincidence, I'm sure. Apple did not unleash COVID on the world.
Slander.
I'm joking. But yeah,
conspiratorial slander.
There were so many conspiracy theories at the time that Apple rushed the sensor into it because of COVID, which I just found hilarious. They've been working on this for a while.
Yeah, they rushed hand washing detection. That's what they rushed.
That's what they did. I think that's accurate. I think they did see that as a thing in March, and then they figured it out before September.
By September,
yeah.
I mean, impressive actually, but yeah.
What are your thoughts on hand washing? Do you still have that enabled? I have it turned on still, and sometimes it's kind of annoying because I'm not washing my hand. I'm just rinsing my hands off. For like they got a little tiny stickiness that went off.
Yeah.
It's like, and the noise alert. When was that? That was in the original model, wasn't it?
What do you mean noise alerts?
The decibel, the hearing health, and if you're in a loud environment, it'll yell at you.
Oh no, it wasn't there from the start. I don't know when that was added.
Okay. Yeah, the hand washing it seems to not like air drying, and they should.
Definitely. One of those Dyson things goes on, and
yeah. They've also have a warning now if you're going to shower that this might go off because of showers or something.
Gotcha.
But yeah, Series 6, we got a new chip, which is Series 4 to 5 share the same chip. So yeah, we've had the original chip, Series 1 and 2 had a chip, Series 3 had a chip, Series 4 and 5 had a chip, the 6, 7, 8, and then what are we in for 4 generations now? Is that the trajectory?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Yeah, in the early days they did do rapid chip enhancements, and now it's much more slow for that. But yeah, we got a new chip with this, and we got the blood oxygen, a brighter always on display, which is my white whale of always make that thing as bright as possible. The always on. Mm-hmm. I'm constantly fighting with the algorithm and yelling at it for not giving me what I want as far as brightness, because I know it can be brighter, and it just doesn't want to be, and it's frustrating sometimes.
Yeah, you're looking forward to the future when it's just literally always on.
That is the thing for sure. Like some of the watch faces, as we'll talk about Series 7, are just frustratingly terrible in the always on display mode. Like they just ruin what makes a watch face great. And I'm excited for Series 7 to talk about the face that just is horrible in always on mode. But yeah, the Series 6 got a much brighter display, and that battery life got fixed.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they did it specifically. If it was more efficient or if it just had a bigger battery. But yeah, battery life was significantly better on the 6 than the 5. The 5 was an unusual dip, and then the 6 kind of got it back.
And this is your first stainless model.
This was my first stainless model. I got the silver stainless one. It was great. I immediately fell in love with it. It wasn't an issue at all for working out, for me at least. Like I know some people are like, it's too heavy. I must have my band like a little tighter to the wrist than it's not. Mine isn't like flopping around.
Right.
Like it's pretty locked in place. So wasn't an issue for me. Looked better, felt better.
Me.
Yeah.
The weight was it's supposed to be heavier, but like it's fine. Like
yeah, not an issue. So I loved it, and I haven't gone back to the aluminum ones.
It is kind of funny once you go up to stainless, it's hard to go back.
Yeah, I feel like this is how I feel when I talk to someone who has like a iMac 5K, and they just like, I could never use a 4K monitor ever again, and I'm like, a 4K monitor is fine, but like you can't go back once you hit like a certain number. It's so hard to go back to something else.
Yeah, I get it. Because you're on the same monitor I am, the Sony Enzone M9, right?
Yeah,
which is 4K.
Which is great.
It's great. Has local dimming. Looks great for all my movies I watch on it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And gaming as well. But it's not 5K, which is fine.
Not 5K. I haven't been spoiled yet, so it's okay with me.
Right. Yeah. And then cellular is on that one, the Series 6. But did you take it for a spin when you got the Series 6? Was that like a thing?
So
was it even active?
I'm thinking back to it. I don't believe I ever activated cellular. I think all I did was get the extra battery life.
Have you ever had cellular on any of your watches active?
Yeah, the Series 7, I got it, and then I just have the plan already, so I just keep it going.
Gotcha. Yeah, cool. So yeah, and then we also got the SE that year. The first generation SE came out that year. It's basically a Series 4-ish.
Yeah.
It did not have it always on display, but it had some things from the 5 or 6.
I think yeah, it was like a Series 5 without the always on display, without maybe something else. I don't think it has the ECG in it either. Yeah. But yeah. But like you said, the big miss there is the always on screen. They don't have it in their cheapest model.
And they sold that for 2 years. And they're still struggling with getting the price down to where that Series 3 hit at the end at $200 or whatever. Still not quite there.
Not quite there. Although it seems like it's doing fine. Like,
oh yeah, they're selling a lot.
It's the most popular watch in the world.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes. So September 2021, we get the Series 7. And boy, oh boy, did people make fun of this thing, because they're like, we were expecting, remember there was a big boxy redesign. This
was the first year where like it must have been rumors about the Ultra just too early. They were talking about this like athletic rock climbers watch, and it was going to be like you said, boxier, and just that's not what the Series 7 was.
It was even more round. Yeah.
Yep.
It's just it's a delightful update, because like it feels good to like interact with that curved screen. It was great having that keyboard there for just little things. And
right. Mm-hmm.
the contour watch face is damn beautiful when it's lit up. Like around the edges there, just looking at it, just and the stainless steel especially is just like shining right back at you. And this is the watch face that just absolutely sucks and always on. For whatever reason, they just get rid of all the side pixels, even though this watch face is mostly black. Like I think there's plenty of battery life to power those things. I don't know what's going on with this watch face and always on mode. It's so aggravating, because I love this watch face, but I want a mode where it's just always on and suck my battery forever, please. Just let me see.
Yeah. Yeah, that it would be kind of nice sometimes if there was a switch in Apple in WatchOS that's like, I don't care about battery in this, just give me everything you got.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The Ultra
Yeah.
especially could use a mode like that, you know.
Oh yeah. It's because especially for like people like me who get like days out of it, it would be I'd be okay with a day and a half. Maybe like
Right, yeah.
let me try this like literally always on screen and see what happens.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have like the seconds hand moving and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
it's
I guess
interesting because it
maybe
updates once a second, so they could design a watch face that has like a not like a clicker, more of a, you know, where it clicks between seconds versus being smooth. I don't know if they'd ever want to do that.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually have a similar issue with the numerals duo watch face, which I
Okay.
love when it's on.
Yeah.
Like I love the like just having like the time with like these big bold bubbly
Yeah.
letters, and then you lower your wrist and they turn into outlines and they're barely there, and I'm like, oh man. So
Yeah.
I don't like that watch face as much, specifically because the always on mode isn't. It doesn't pop. It's
No, yeah.
not
And
as
I
good.
always have to design my watch face around the always on mode because that's the default. And that means some of the colored faces, I'm not going to use them because like it's going to change from like black background to a colorful background. I don't like that jarring change.
Yeah, you're right. I do. This isn't really about the Series 7, but I do
No.
like it when I do prefer watch faces that look very, very similar when they're in always on mode and when they're actually on. And like you said, if it has a color background, I just can't do it because it's so much of a difference.
Yeah, the Snoopy one does pretty good with his Snoopy sleeping, which, you know, that's playful. I get it. But but that contour face, beautiful when lit up, and I'll occasionally change to it and like make a point of like waking it up a bunch, looking at it. So it's great.
Great watch face for sure.
Yeah, my favorite, I guess, my favorite watch face, as like a default outside the simple faces that we talked about earlier, is the California face, because that thing just takes up the entire screen. It looks great in always on mode. Looks identical pretty much when it lights up, and I think that's a really good just analog face for the watch.
That is a really good one. That was whatever year they released it. That was the one that I settled on that year. Is really good. And especially I think I used like the blue background, so I did break my rule there. The like, dark blue background, that one looked good enough. I did like that.
We also got modular duo with the Series 7. Is that the one you were talking about just a second ago?
No, wait, maybe numerals duo.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
that's
there's so many watch faces
the big numbers. There's so many watch faces. Like it's amazing how many we're at now. Anything else about the Series 7? I mean, we got a keyboard, which is nifty.
Yeah, we got, I think, is that the year we got the apps? No, the App Store's always been on there. Yeah, just the keyboard was the big thing. Yeah, I was happy to see it. The keyboard's not always the best way to do text input,
nice,
but sometimes you can't dictate, or it's not a word like the same way. So it was nice to have that. Happy to see the keyboard come for those instances where it actually works pretty well.
Yeah, it's fun. The App Store came to the watch, I want to say it was Series 4.
Okay.
Is that right? Because you have to use your iPhone, and then they made this like statement about the Apple Watch becoming more of a standalone thing, and that really has not come to fruition that much.
It has not. No. There was, I mean, we've for a couple of years there, we were wondering like, when are they going to make it work on Android? When are they going to let you just buy a watch without an iPhone and use it totally independently? But like,
because it does operate much more independently now. Like I can leave my phone at home all day long, have cellular on the watch. With the Ultra, you have enough battery life to use cellular all day long, listen to stuff all day long, stream stuff. You can use Outcast and some other podcast apps to access stuff, access it on the watch. You can download apps from the App Store, but some apps require the phone to be nearby for setup and stuff.
Yep.
So it functions once it's set up very well, but independently. But it's a shame you can't just use this as a standalone object.
Yeah, I guess as the years have gone on, as like we talked about earlier with apps, third-party apps especially not having the traction that we thought they might earlier on, it feels more like an iPhone accessory these days than we thought maybe it was going to be. It's kind of like the iPad, like, well, not, I guess not really. The iPad's doing much better in that regard. But like we were like, oh, it's an accessory for the phone. Oh, maybe it'll break off from because like the iPhone was an accessory, like you needed a Mac to set it up, and then the iPhone kind of was able to do it all on its own. We thought the watch would do maybe the same thing, but
I the watch could be the new home of your hub, but no, that's not the case.
Yeah,
I would love it if you could pair the watch with an iPad, not even have a phone. It'd be great.
Yeah. And there's no real reason you couldn't.
Not really.
If they wanted to make it happen.
Except for Apple probably doesn't. Apple probably wants you to have Apple is so. They really want your watch to talk to your phone over Bluetooth in every situation possible, even when it means that the task won't finish because Bluetooth is super slow.
Yes.
It's very annoying. So
yeah.
So often to do stuff on the watch, you have to like turn off, Bluetooth on the watch so it connects to Wi-Fi or cellular, so you can download a podcast or Audible book or whatever. And it's just frustrating that the apps can't like say no, use Wi-Fi, please.
Yeah, that's very much like just hearing you say that. That's very much like hearing a Linux person say, "Oh, it's not that hard. Here's what you have to do to like make this thing that you want to do work." It's like here's 4 steps. And you go into settings menus and everything.
So the real trick, Matt, is the iPhone can only talk to one watch at a time. So this year I entered the 2-watch person club, and when I want to get my Ultra ready for work, I sleep track with my my Series watch, my Series 9. Crazy I have that. And the Ultra, you can just use your new hand, and it's going to talk to Wi-Fi because it doesn't know about your phone because it's already connected to your Series 9 there.
Interesting. So
that is like that is the fun thing. Like it only like, so it's like it's able to do all the stuff over Wi-Fi. Before I had to like go through all the gymnastics to get the Bluetooth off and not talking.
That's funny.
And it's kind of funny. Sometimes if I update my alarm on my phone, I won't update on my Ultra on my nightstand because it's only talked to my Series watch at the moment. So because I have the auto whatever. So it's kind of kind of fun with managing that.
Oh man. So so if you want faster transfers onto your watch,
get a
second watch.
Exactly.
But set that watch up, take it off.
Yeah.
Or no. Oh boy.
Oh yeah. So
very reasonable.
Anyways, Series 8. This is September 2022. And this year we also saw the introduction of the SE 2nd generation and the 1st generation of the Ultra. So this is a big watch here. We got 3 watches this year. And you got an Ultra this year, and a Series 8 is in your household.
Yeah, my wife got a Series 8. She buys a new one every like 4 years or so.
Like a rational person.
Like a rational person. I live with a rational person, yes. But yeah, I was disappointed because I had a Series 7. I felt really good about it. The Series 8 looked the same. It didn't have any like real.
Yeah, it had a body temperature sensor.
Yeah,
is that right, for cycle tracking? And
that was the one like big thing.
It could tell you in the health app if you're trending higher or lower, and you can correlate that to sickness or something sometimes.
Yeah, but like that wasn't really appealing to me, so I was so excited. That was really it.
Yeah, the Series 6 got fast charging, but the Series 8 got even faster charging, I think.
Probably.
I think so. Yeah.
But yeah, I was ready to get off the yearly upgrade train. I was like, oh, thank you. I'm not even
Apple's
to get the Series
stride.
8.
With the Series 7, they hit their stride. Everything after this is just gravy.
Yeah. And then I saw the Ultra, and they showed people on mountains and under scuba diving, and I was like, I'm not going to do any of that. I don't need the Ultra. And then people started reviewing it, and I saw pictures, and I was like, it's not that big. And I would like more battery life. And those exclusive watch faces are pretty nice. Yep.
Yeah.
And the orange, the stupid orange got me.
Stupid orange.
Yep. They're there.
Not that much bigger.
It's really not that much bigger. Like it's bigger, but
Yeah.
I don't feel like a crazy person wearing it. I thought I would look like a crazy person.
Yeah. But
But
I'm seeing them a lot from just random
I've seen a lot
people
of them.
that are just like, they're not even athletic. They're just like, that's what they got. Yeah.
It's just like it really like it's not how Apple pitched it. Like they pitched it like the Series 8 is the best watch. The stainless steel is the
Right.
best Apple Watch. The Ultra is for these special use cases. But like what it actually turned out to be is the Ultra is just the pro watch. Like
Yes.
tons of people who just want to have the nicest watch have the Ultra. And I guess I'm one of those people.
Yeah. And it's, I skipped out this year. I desperately wanted an Ultra. I said, I'm going to wait for Ultra 2. And I managed to hold off this entire year. And then I just fell apart the next year, as we'll talk about a little bit. But I must say, the Ultra, the watch bands are just so well designed. It reminds me back of the original set of watch bands we got, where we had some just killer designs. The Alpine loop, especially, is just like just spot on. Like, it's very comfortable. It stays put all day long. It looks great. Yeah, I love that band.
Yeah, the Alpine loop is fantastic. I'm wearing the green one. That's my go-to. Love it. And then the Velcro one, whatever that one's called.
Yeah,
it's simple, but it works.
The hiking one, the
hiking one, yeah. No, the Alpine.
Oh
boy,
this guy. What do they call this thing? The
calls for
trail.
Google's or the
trail
Apple
loop,
site
right?
to work. Trail loop.
Yeah, it's super soft and comfy. Like it. I have the pedestrian version here, which is what they had for $50. That they introduced a couple of years after the Apple Watch. But this trail loop, it's super soft. And it's a nice. It's my like if I'm gonna sleep track with the Ultra, that's the band I'm gonna throw on. You know.
Okay.
It's my lounge around with the Ultra if I'm not wearing my other watch. It's funny, and I picked up. They discontinued this band here, the black trail loop with the orange accent. They discontinued it, so I found this on eBay for a half price, which is good. And it's funny, my daughter, 1 year old now, notices this orange tab, and she immediately knows to pull it. This other band that is also Velcro, she hasn't figured that out even, but this orange loop thing is very appealing to just tug at. Like it's very cute. But yeah, I do like the Alpine or the trail loop.
The trail loop. Yeah, it's yeah, they did a really great job. Even the swimming one. What's that? The Ocean Band.
Ocean Band.
Yeah. I like that one, although it's such a pain.
It is
like how
such a pain to try to put on.
It takes like it doesn't take 20 minutes, but like it takes a bit to like get it exactly right.
And it's not as comfortable as the other two.
It's not super comfortable.
No.
I like how it looks. Like I really like how it looks. I have the white one, and I think it looks really. It takes me back to like my original one, I guess, where I had the white band on the Series 0. But it gets caught on things. Sometimes it like flips out, like the part you hold down is like flips out of the thing that's supposed to hold it.
Yeah.
And like I had to look at the instruction manual to understand how to put it together the first time.
Yes.
I was like, what is this extra like metal piece? What is this for?
Yeah, I got the midnight one just because that was the only one that was very cheap on eBay at the time. Because I wanted one of each, and I wasn't going to pay anywhere near full price for that thing. I really wanted the orange one because I don't know, seemed to look kind of cool. But I have accumulated way too many watch bands over my my watch life.
Haven't we all? They all work though. They never go out of date.
They do. I've got this lovely little carrying case for all my bands I got here.
Yeah. That's how you know when you've got a problem, but you're taking care of it. It's fine.
I am. Yes, I am. But yeah, the Ultra, very, very great watch. One cool trick that I used just the other night was you can remove the Ultra from the watch band and just put it in like a sink or a little baby bathtub, and it'll immediately, once it's submerged, knows it's underwater. It'll turn on the temperature sensor thing and add the temp reading there, and it stays fully lit as long as it's underwater. It's very cool, and it turns on the water lock as well once it goes under automatically. So that's a nice little trick.
That's really cool. I've seen it go, like I've done the depth sensing like with it on briefly, like to see it go 3 feet underwater in like a wave pool. But yeah, I did not know it would just kind of kick in while it's. Do you have to unlock it first and then drop it in, or
no? It's totally locked. Yeah, totally locked. It does that. Yeah,
that's rad.
It's awesome. It's so fun going to a pool that doesn't have a thermostat. You can see what temperature it is just when you jump in. It's like it's just this temperature. It's like it's pretty fun. Yeah. And I heavily use audio in my day job. So I thought, I have a Series 7 with 70% battery life. Clearly, if I just swap it with the Series 9, it'll last all day at work. And I get the Series 9, and it dies very quickly by like 3 o'clock. It's like at 10% or whatever. It's like, okay, clearly. And I look at the tech specs after the fact. Oh, this thing's only rated for like 8 hours of audio playback or something like that, or 10. It's like, this watch just doesn't work for what I'm trying to use it for. So, and then the Ultra is double that. And it's like, okay, I can actually get through a full day of work on the Ultra. I can be streaming or have stuff local on the watch, and I can use the Ultra all day at work, and I can get down to like 40%, maybe 35 on a heavy day, but plenty of breathing room on the Ultra. It's great. And I freaking love this thing for work. And then when I come home, it's so delightful to have it on the nice shiny stainless steel Series 9. And just a delightful change of pace. I still smile when I wear the Series 9 because it's just a delightful, tiny watch now in comparison from what I've been wearing. And it's great to have that contrast.
Yeah, for sure. That is my one. I don't think I've said anything bad about the Ultra yet, but the one thing I would say is I do prefer the rounded corners, the more sleek, kind of shiny look of the stainless steel normal Apple Watch. But it's the battery life and
so much better.
Yeah, it's so much.
Ultra's side button feels to click. That thing is great.
Oh, I disagree.
It's a very button button.
I like it better. I like the buttons better on the regular watch.
Okay.
I like it all better.
Yeah.
Like I don't like the crown guard. I wish that wasn't there.
The action button I love. I have it programmed through shortcuts to do different things based on my location. So I have it filtering based on street name and city in some case. So if I'm in my work city, it'll do something different from my home, and it's awesome using shortcuts to make that thing really special. And it operates entirely on the watch. I can be without my phone, and shortcuts does its thing with location aware different functions, which is awesome.
Yeah. Action button's awesome.
Really is.
That big orange button is great. Kind of wish it was orange on the iPhone as well.
Yeah, that would look pretty nice.
Or accented, whatever model you have. Yeah.
And then we got the Series 9 this year. It's September 2023 in the Ultra 2. Got a new chip. First one's the Series 6. 64 gigs of storage on this sucker, which I love. We now are in iPod Nano territory. And I load this thing up with the podcast, as we've talked about. And Audible has a great Apple Watch app, and music you can put a bunch on. So I load this thing up, and my cellular provider must be wondering who the heck is using much data on an Apple Watch, but I do. And we got the double tap.
That's great.
Yeah.
And double tap is kind of the last few models. Or there's a few models where it's like there's one big thing, and this year definitely double tap. So how have you been enjoying double tap? Because I have an opinion on it, but I don't think I've heard your opinion.
I like it in general. I wish I could do more with it. I actually like the messages thing where I can double tap to. I get a message, I can double tap, it opens up the messages. I can double tap again, it starts a dictation. I hit double tap again, it can send it. So I can reply to a message entirely with double tap, which is awesome. I wish it didn't answer the phone when I double tap, because I'm worried I'm going to answer a phone call I don't want to. I just have my hand perfectly still for phone calls. I'm afraid it'll actually answer. I wish there was a second interaction type. So we have double tap. I want a third interaction type because right now we can just scroll through the list on our stacks. I want some kind of secondary thing so you can scroll and select. Like if they can figure out another interaction to do that, that'd be great.
Yeah, well, because they do that with assistive touch. You can double tap to advance to the next thing, and then you select it by making a fist. You like make a
Right.
or like a double fist or whatever, and that gets you kind of like, I want to interact with this thing. I don't want to like move on to the next. So maybe they'll add something. You get kind
I
of
hope so.
complicated with then with your like your hands doing like all these crazy motions to
Yeah.
like control your watch at some point.
Yes.
But yeah, I do agree with you. I think when it works, it's really awesome. The one that kind of like, there's two that I use regularly. One is my work VPN. Every day I have to sign into my computer, and my VPN sends me a push notification. I raise my wrist, I pinch my fingers, I'm in. It's great. And the second one is when I forget to start a workout. When that notification comes in, especially when I'm walking my dog, I've got like one hand that's like holding my phone, one hand that's holding the leash. I've got like a my hands are full, and like I see the thing come up and I can just double tap and I can start it. And so those are really nice, but same issues as you, I think. I'd like some more control over it overall.
Yeah. I like using with the Now Playing app to fast forward podcasts occasionally. That's handy.
Nice. Yeah, so it would be nice if I could do more with it. I would also like to know what's going to happen before I double tap. Because like if a phone call is coming in and you don't know the behavior, you may not know the double tap. You'd have to like double tap to find out what happens, because there's no indicator on the screen that tells you what's going to happen when you double tap. So I'd love to see them add some sort of visual thing to like whatever thing's going to happen when you double tap.
Yes.
Let me visually tell that's going to happen.
Yeah, that'd be nice, a little outline or something.
Yep.
But yeah, that's a cool little thing. And the screen brightness is great. So the Ultra 2 is up to 3,000 nits, and this Series 9 is up to 2,000 now. And they're very legible outside. We're in the territory where it's as bright as it needs to be, I think.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. It's great. I'd never struggled to see my watch outside. I don't think even in always on mode, it's pretty good. So
yeah, in the ultra face, new favorite watch face. I think as far as a working watch face, like it's great. I love the second hand. I love the seconds going around. It's very nice.
I like their new font that they're using. I don't know what typeface this is, but it looks really good.
The complications around are just perfect. Those are the ones I want, and plenty of them. Like it's wonderful.
Yep. Yeah. Years ago, I mocked up a watch face I wanted, which was just a grid of 9 complications.
Yes.
And this is as close as I think I've gotten to that.
No, it's great. Yeah. It's become basically like an iPod watch face, and it's wonderful. So basically the bottom half, I got Now Playing, then my 3 audio apps, and up top I've got some messages and whatnot. But yeah, the Ultra 2 phenomenal. You got an Ultra 1 though. I think you would probably say it's nice, but if you're not like a power user that needs all the storage, not as important.
Yeah. I mean either Ultra is great right now.
Yeah.
If someone was like, hey, I found a good deal on the Ultra 1 and I got that, I'd be like, awesome, you're gonna have a great time.
Yeah. As far as when they cut off support, the 4 and 5 I think would probably be next. That's the next chip cycle. And
Those are still getting updates?
They are.
Wow.
3 got cut off, but 4 still getting updates.
That's impressive.
And it's weird because like the 6 has the same 6. The 6 has the same chip as the 7 and 8, but it's different screen size. So I wonder if they'll cut off based on screen size or chip in the future.
That's a great question. I don't know.
And the SE continues to be a thing, so
yeah, the SE will
supported. So
yeah, so they'll probably wait for the chip because the SE makes them keep that screen size anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the SE's job.
It is.
I remember app developers were upset about the Series 3 for being around so long because they had to support it for their apps.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel silly having the dual watch lifestyle now, but it's expensive year for watches, but I'm set for a while, I think. I say this now, but the redesign It's funny, they redesigned this greatly to a huge extent. I don't think I'll want to sell my Series 9, and I think I'd rather have 3 watches, because like this I got married in the Series 4 golden stainless steel, so I kind of want that same design just for sentimental reasons.
Yeah.
You know?
I get that. I get
Yeah.
that.
So yeah.
I
We'll
didn't
see.
have I didn't even have a smartphone when I got married, but anyway.
Do you Yeah, any final thoughts on the Apple Watch and what your future of upgrading looks like, as we don't know anything going forward?
So I think the Apple Watch has been a huge success. I don't think that's a controversial statement at all. It's done really well for Apple. I think people who have them like them. I think, a lot of tech comes along and it's a fad, and enthusiasts like it, and then it kind of drops off and never makes that mainstream jump. But smartwatches totally have, and the Apple Watch is absolutely the leader there. I think, the first one, they kind of nailed it. The third one, or they nailed the fundamentals,
Right.
especially the physical finally the third one, they kind of finally got performance and the operating system into a decent place. And then, good iterations until what we have today, which are really good models, especially the Ultra. I think it was a good breath of fresh air. I think if the Ultra didn't exist, the discourse around the Apple Watch would be kind of like, it's a little long in the tooth. They don't really have any new ideas anymore. It's not really changing much, but the Ultra, just got people excited again.
Yeah. So what do you think is around the screen of the Ultra? You look at yours, it's shiny, that little metal material. Is that titanium in a shiny format, or is that something else? Because the Ultra is very durable, but that little shiny bezel is the one thing I've managed to nick up already in some parts.
I think so. What I think you're looking at, it's not titanium. It's something else. I don't really know what it is, but I think it's for the radios to get through better.
No, that's like a gray material, right? There's that lighter gray thing, which it's kind of cool that the radios have that work through.
Okay. So you're talking about the thing above the radio.
Yes, above that
material.
It's shiny.
I've always thought it looked the same. I thought it was just normal titanium. I could be wrong.
It seems like, I don't know, it seems like a polished thing. The very just like top of the watch almost. Like not the side, but the actual top of that by the watch face, that border of metal.
I've always thought it was just titanium, but I don't know.
Okay, yeah, but I managed to scratch certain parts of that little the screen's perfect, but that little metal area is has
these things are tough to damage, so congratulations, I guess.
I know. It doesn't bother me too much because it's the Ultra. It's fine, and as long as the screen's fine. And I do love that there is that little antenna band in there, because I think it probably helps with the radios. Versus, I don't know what they do with the Series 7, just like going through your skin, I guess. But the screen, I don't know.
I don't know though. I
and the watch seems to handle cellular better. Like I can be in long phone calls, it doesn't heat up like it does on the Series watches as much.
Okay. Yeah, the Ultra just seems it's hard to think of anything bad to say about it.
Yeah, it's
just great.
Yeah. But yeah, I love the Apple Watch. Yeah, and this was a fun kind of walk down memory lane here. And I will be very curious to see what this big redesign is, if it'll be like the 7 was, and or something just more minor than we think.
I'll put money down now. It's going to be like the 7, and people are going to be like, "That's it."
Right. But
it'll
like
be good.
It'll have the better new screen technology, and that'll be like, but basically similar in shape and all that kind of stuff. Maybe.
Yeah. I wonder if they'll ever do a round Apple Watch. Those have been rumored for years.
That'd be cool.
I've always been against it, but maybe they'll do it eventually. There's only so many iterations you can do on a rectangle, I guess.
Right. And I want that action button on these other Apple Watch. It bugged me to death that I can't use it there.
Yes, absolutely. Action buttons everywhere.
Yes. Well, this has been fun. where can folks find your awesome content on the interwebs?
Best place to follow me is A Better Computer on YouTube, is where I post most of my stuff. And then I also have a blog, birchtree.me, and that's where I write about whatever I want, mostly technology.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. It's been a lot of fun, Matt. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.